I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the syllabus, and then I do kind of want to know something about you that I can add to my roster. Whenever I look at my roster for attendance, it kind of helps me to get to know you a little bit better if I have an idea of what your major is and who you are and what you do. So I like to take notes on that. By the way, last spring, I did end up having my class move online, but I only had one class last spring, and my summer class was canceled. So I haven't done this in a while. So hopefully I'm not forgetting something major. I've never started out a class online, so this will be kind of different. All right, let's go ahead and start with the syllabus. If you have it on you, great. If you don't, I'll share mine so that you can see it. Let's see. Okay, can you guys see my syllabus? Yes, okay, excellent. All right, so you are in Math 112. This section is cross-listed. Most of you are in 202. I think one of you is in section M02. We're in fall 2020. I am Carrie Faruqi. Let's see. My email is on here. Several of you guys have already emailed me. Email is the best way to communicate with me. I check it. I mean, it gets pushed to my phone, so I get your emails instantaneously. It's just a matter of, sitting down and being able to read through them and answer your question accordingly. But please note it's Faruqi, not Faruqi. Sometimes people think that's a G, but it's a Q. So just something to note when you send me an email. Our class is going to go through December 16th, which is a Wednesday. Our class is technically listed to go from 6 to 7:50. Now, any class that is over 100 minutes is entitled to a break. Now, I tend to not do breaks in a math class, especially now that we're not even sitting in a classroom. I figure if you need to get up, you can get up. It's not a big deal. So I'm just going to do the break at the end, which means I'm going to be ending class at 7:40. So if anyone has an issue with that for whatever reason, let me know. But I tend to just teach from 6 to 7:40 and call it a day. My office hours will be before class for 35 minutes, so starting at 5:25, and you can access the office hour from the same link that we'll be using for class. So I'm going to be sitting here at the computer at 5:25. If you pop on and you have a question, I might have my camera off or something. Just say, hey, I have a question, and then I'll pop back on and get to your question, whatever it is. And if there are a lot of people, I'll just, keep my camera on and just be available the whole time. I'll be available anyway. But so that's what we'll be doing for the office hour. There's a Google Meet office hour, just like a Google Meet class. I'll be on at 5:25, and then after class until 7:55, I'll be on for more office hour time in case you had any lingering questions. I figure I'm always kind of sitting around anyway, especially with these online classes, because normally what I do is I record the class, and then I have to sit here and export the recording and then upload it to YouTube. So it takes me a few minutes anyway. So I might as well answer any questions you have while I sit after class. So that's kind of why I set it up that way. And I know sometimes people have a hard time getting on to the class before 6 o'clock. So that at least gives you a few more options if you have a hard time making it in by 6. I know it's harder to have an office hour over the internet. So we'll do the best we can. I have a voicemail on here. I'm required to put it on there. I don't remember the last time I checked it. I don't have access to the phone at school, and I don't know how to access my voicemail from my home phone. So I'm required to put it on there. Please don't leave me voicemails. I've not had a student try to do that in a long time, but just email me. I'm really good about email. Before I continue, does anyone have a question about the syllabus thus far? Okay, wonderful. All right, so let's keep going then. your textbook is listed as Blitzer, College Algebra 7E. Now, in the bookstore, I had it set up so that you guys didn't actually have to get the textbook. All I need is for you to have access to my math lab. When you went into the bookstore, I mean, I don't know, did you guys go into the bookstore? Is that what you did? Okay, so you went into the bookstore and you asked, and I'm assuming they gave you like a little, looks like a cardboard thing with a code in it. Okay, that's all you need. So you just rip off the thing off the code, and then you can put it in my math lab. If you have access to D2L already, I put an instruction sheet in there for how to enter my math lab class. I'm guessing a lot of you guys already used my math lab before for a different class, and you might already still have access. If you took this class before, like last semester, you'll still have access and you won't have to pay for it again, and you can just add our class, and I'll get to that in a minute. But as far as the book is concerned, if you wanted to get a physical copy of it, that's fine. You don't have to. I will show you in a little bit that you can actually view the textbook online in my math lab. The only difference is you don't get to keep it for your whole life. You just get to access it while you're in the class. And another thing is, if you aren't on the internet, you wouldn't be able to view it. It's just for looking at online. But, you know, that's up to you. If you decide you want to get the text or just stick with my math lab, you can view the text that way. So that's the deal with the book. The ISBN, I think, was for the bundle. No, the ISBN was just supposed to be for my math lab access. Never mind. I can't remember which year I do what, but yes, just for my math lab. All right, so the prereqs, a lot of you guys got into this class through placement tests. Some of you got in through taking Math 98. As long as you got a C or better, you can take 112. So a lot of you did that. There's a geometry prereq. Sometimes students get in by accident without doing the geometry prereq, and then they find out later that they have to concurrently enroll in geometry. So hopefully you're on top of that. I don't know how that happens, but it's not something I check. So that would be something your counselor would discuss with you. And then there's a reading prereq on here as well. If you're wondering why there's a reading prereq for math, probably just because there are going to be word problems that you're going to have to go through. Our description is that we are going to be doing a study of more advanced algebraic theory and techniques required for the study of calculus. Most of what you're doing in this class is really just preparation for if you are going to take calculus. Now, I know that some of you aren't going to take calc, and maybe you just have to take this class for chemistry or some other class for which Math 112 is a prereq. If that's the case and you're like, well, I'm not taking calc, sorry, a lot of this material is just geared towards getting you ready for calc. And then when you take trig, you combine it with college algebra, and those two together are like your foundation. But, you know, I'm sure that with all of the equations and everything happening here, you'll be using this in chemistry or whatever it was required for, your physics class or whatnot. All right, so that's kind of, there's just a little rundown here of what our topics are going to include. We're going to hit most of that. Some of this stuff at the end we might not get to. I'm not sure. A lot of times I don't get to it, and there's nothing you can do about that. You get what you can. Our required course materials, the list really narrowed down this semester. Your class notes and your calculator. Now, officially in this class, I believe it's written in the catalog that when you take 112, you are required to have a graphing calculator. It should be listed in the prereq. I cannot force you to have one. I mean, I don't even see what you guys have over there. It's supposed to be a requirement. A lot of the stuff in this class you can do without one. You will see, though, from time to time that we're going to be using the calculator as our main way of solving problems, especially when we get into the section on matrices. You're going to be learning ways to do that in your calculator, and you cannot do something like that on a scientific calculator. So make sure you get yourself some sort of TI 83 or 84, and 83 is fine. It doesn't matter how old it is. They'll still do the same thing. Sometimes the buttons aren't quite as intuitive, but they do the same stuff. So an old 83 is fine. I wish I still had my old 83. It died a few years ago. Now I have 84s, which are still nice. All right. In order to be successful in this class, sorry, my phone is beeping now. I had to remember to turn off my own phone. Can you believe it? You're going to have to attend every class session. If you're marked absent more than 4 class sessions, that means your 5th one, you would be subject to withdrawal. Now, officially, I only really take attendance up until the drop date. The drop date is listed as November 8th. Once November 8th occurs, it's much harder for me to drop students. So I tend to not even worry about it at that point. I mean, at that point, we're only a few weeks off from the final exam, and most of the students who are going to drop are already dropped themselves anyway. So if you're going to miss more than 4 classes, make sure that you don't miss all 5 classes before November 8th, because pretty much that's the date that I stopped taking attendance. All right, so I'll let you in on that secret. So 4 classes is fine, 5 too many. If you are late to class, check with me to make sure I mark you present. I'm not quite sure how I'll be doing attendance. Probably depending on what day it is, I'll have a different way of doing that, depending on whether we have a quiz or an exam. Something like that would kind of change that, the way that I would take attendance. Let's see. If you miss class, it's your responsibility to view the recordings to complete the notes. Now, that being said about the notes, I was told by the school 3 weeks ago that there was a deadline for submitting to the printing and copying shop whatever notes I wanted to have sent to my students, so that they could have a 2-week turnaround time to get everything printed and shipped and to get all the labels printed and mail it out to you guys. At the time, I was thinking, this is a little ridiculous because I only have 7 students, and who knows which of those students are still going to be in my class. So I waited until last Wednesday, and at that point I had 13 students, and I went to the post office. I printed out hundreds of copies of paper on my own printer and mailed it all out. It cost me like $25. And then the next day I had like 3 more students. And then today I had like 10 more students. So some of you guys should have received the notes that I was sitting there like at the post office dealing with last Wednesday. They were supposed to arrive today. Did anybody get those? I'm noticing some of you guys are. Who got the notes I sent in the mail?
I got them, yeah.
Michael got them. Anyone else? Nakira got them?
I got them.
I got
I
them.
haven't checked yet. Is it cool if I go check real quick?
Let's see. You know what? I don't think you were in the class until the next day. You know, I don't know why I can't. Your name is being hidden behind like a little white panel for me. Yeah, feel free to go check. I don't think you were in until the day, like the morning after I sent the notes, and then I was just like, ah, what am I doing? What's going to happen? Oh, Angel's saying that he moved recently and they might have been sent to the wrong house. Well, we'll see. Whatever address you have in the system, that's where I sent them. And I knew that was probably going to happen where someone was like, oh, I don't live there anymore. You do what you can. So what my plan was to just, I sent out notes only up through 2-5, because I knew that basically once we hit Thursday, I'm going to send everything from the rest of chapter 2 through chapter 8 to the print shop. And I'm going to have them print everything and mail out everything. But I don't want to have to go through again like 2 more times and be like, wait, this person added to my class. Wait, that person added to my class. It's going to be a total nightmare. But we're supposed to be starting 2/6 2 weeks from Wednesday. So maybe Wednesday night I'll submit it so that we can get that 2-week turnaround time. And then by the time we cover 2/6, you guys will have those notes. Now, technically, you don't have to have the notes. I'll be working on them, and you can watch the recorded class session and you can see me do the notes. But I feel like it's nice for students to have something to sit there and write on instead of just sitting there watching me do math. Plus, there will be times when I'm going to do a problem And then I'm going to say, okay, now you guys try this one. And because it's hard for me to get feedback online. Normally in class, I would say, okay, I'm going to do this one. Now you do that one. It's a little harder to do that online, but at least that gives you a chance to get started on the problem. And then you kind of figure out what you don't know, and then you can ask me questions about it. But if you're just sitting there watching me do the math, then it's hard to develop questions. So that's why it's really nice, I think, for you guys to have a paper copy of your own notes. Now, I know a lot of people these days don't have printers, and that's why I wanted to send everybody the notes. But you might be like, oh, well, I don't need you to send me the notes. I have a printer at home, and it's great, and it's no big deal. And that's fine. I'm going to send you the notes anyway. I don't want you to have to worry about it. But if you already have the notes, great. If you don't, but you do have a printer at home or you have access to a printer, all of the notes are on D2L. I will show you in a couple minutes when we start talking about D2L. Some of you may have found them already. If you don't have access to our D2L yet, I'll show you anyway so that you know where they are. But that's kind of my spiel about the notes. Does anyone have a question here? Feel free to unmute and state your question if you do. All right. Let's see. Sorry, I forgot I was sharing this screen, so my page was probably not the spot that I was reading on. Okay, our course grading. Homework will be worth 20%. That should be the easiest 20% for you. And I say this every semester, but it doesn't matter what I say because there's always that one student who refuses to do homework and maybe they get A's on all their tests. But if you don't have that 20% of your grade in, or if that 20% of your grade is like 20%, you're not going to get an A in the class. In some cases, you're going to have a hard time getting a C in the class. The homework, I'm going to show you in a few minutes on my math lab, you're going to have an infinite number of tries to do. Now, that's up until the due date, so technically I shouldn't say an infinite number of tries, but it should be an easy way for you to get 20% of your course grade. I'm using my math lab for homework. I've done that for a long time. I do freelancing work for Pearson. I used to work there full time. It's just what I know. It's what I'm familiar with. You might have a friend who's taking college algebra and they're using Alex. That was offered to me as an option. It was just too much for me to get into and figure out this summer, so I stuck with my math lab. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll figure out Alex, but as of this fall, I'm using my math lab. So 20% of your course grade will be for homework. Quizzes will be 10%. I don't normally do quizzes. This will be a new thing that I'm doing this year, just to kind of keep you guys current and make sure that everybody's on board. It seems like if all you're doing is homework and then you don't get a test until every chapter, it could be that maybe you don't realize under pressure how well you would do on this topic. Not that I want to put you under a lot of pressure, but I want you to be in that situation more often where you're having to come up with these answers without relying on some of the homework aids on my math lab. So the quizzes will be, and I'll get into this in another minute, but the quizzes will be very short, but I want to do one a week just to keep everybody on the same page. Our chapter exams will be 55% of your class grade. So there'll be 5 of those. So each one of those will count for 11% of your class grade. And then your final exam will be 15% of your class grade. I sort of redid those numbers just because of the class being online. I didn't want to put quite as much emphasis on the exams. Your course grade will be assigned in the standard 60, 70, 80, 90 grading system. So let me get into the details of some of the stuff that you will be graded on. Your homework is going to be assigned on a day-to-day basis. So whatever we do that day, I'm going to assign homework for. And there'll be some times where we start a section, but we don't finish it. I'll still post homework and say, 2.5 part 1 or something, just so that you can get started on it. I don't want to have to wait until later. I know some teachers will post all of the homework at once and just say, here, work on this when we're in that section. But I don't want you to work on something and then realize later, like, wait, I don't know how to do this yet, and be confused. So I try to only assign you what we've already gone over so you don't have to run into that situation. Your homework will always be due the following Monday. So anything I assign tonight, anything I assign Wednesday night will be due Monday. Now, I used to give a grace period just to give everybody some time to get on my math lab and figure everything out. I don't want to do that anymore just because my math lab actually has a 14-day free trial. And part of the reason I gave people a grace period was because students would say, my financial aid hasn't come in yet, I can't get on my math lab. And that's kind of why I gave a little bit more time. But since my math lab offers a 14-day free trial period, if you're not ready yet to purchase my math lab, if you're not going to be in that position for another 2 weeks, that at least you can get started on your homework. Otherwise, we're 2.5 weeks into the course before you have anything due. And that's just too long. Once the due date is done, that's it. Your homework is complete. Late homework will not be accepted, but I will drop the lowest 3 homework scores. You know, I always say it's typical for every 1 hour spent in class, you should expect to study and do homework for at least an hour outside of class. That's different for everybody. Some people are going to need more time than that, and some people will need less. But that's what you should plan for. Now, this next piece of information about your My Math Lab course ID is also on the D2L page about how to get onto My Math Lab. You are going to be asked when you set up your My Math Lab account for your course ID. That gets you into our class. So maybe you already used My Math Lab last year. Maybe you took 112 over the summer and you dropped it. You still need to switch into our course, and you'll need our course ID, which is Faruqi 22706. So that's very important, which is why it's in bold and underlined. Every once in a while, specifically for graphing, I'm going to ask you to complete homework by hand. You are going to have to scan this, and I will talk about that in a minute, and send it to me so that I can grade it. There won't be a lot of this, but one of the big shortfalls of my math lab is the graphing homework. I don't really feel that graphing on my math lab is the same skill set as graphing by hand, which is what I'm going to be expecting you to do for exams. So for that homework, I really want you to be prepared, and I might have you do some of that graphing by hand. When the time comes, I'll remind you of what I'm expecting to see and turn in. Just know that that's a possibility, something that you'll probably see, especially in chapter 3. Any questions on homework? All right, I don't see any questions in the chat, so I'm going to keep checking the chat. If you do have questions, you can always drop them in there too. All right, so that's homework. Quizzes. So we're going to have a really short, about a 5 to 10 minute quiz at the beginning of class each Monday, you know, assuming there's not an exam scheduled that day. The quizzes are going to be on D2L on the quizzes tab. I don't know how many of you guys have taken a quiz or test on D2L. Okay, see, one person has. I can only see some of you. There must be a better way. I'll figure it out. See, last semester I only had 8 people in my class, so I saw everybody at the same time. Now there are all these people and I can't see everybody. Okay. All right, so I'll show you when we get into D2L. But I had to take a class over the summer through ECC, and it was all about how to use D2L effectively to teach. And a lot of the stuff I knew, but some of the stuff I didn't know how to use before. And one of those things was the quizzes feature. And I actually had an assignment that was due on it last night, and I had to create a 10-question quiz, and it was an interesting learning experience. But I actually thought that it was a great way to just do a quick quiz for you guys that you can just access through D2L, and then it would grade it for me and just put it into the system. So quizzes will be 10% of your grade. I didn't want to put too much emphasis on something that was graded by D2L. Of course, if you had issues with it, you would let me know, because that's a new feature for me. But yeah, I tested it out, and I think it'll be great, and I think it'll help to keep everybody on track. It'll be probably most likely one question, but depending on how long the question is, it could be 2 questions if they're really short questions, because I don't want it to be a quiz that we're spending 20 minutes on. I just want it to be a quick 5 to 10 minute quiz. That's it, just to kind of give you something to be accountable towards. So that'll be the quizzes. Now for exams, we're gonna have 5 of those. Your lowest test score will be dropped. But you can't make up any exams. If you need to be absent, or if you miss an exam, then that will count as your dropped score. You'll get a 0 on it, but the 0 will be dropped. If you miss another test, then you just end up with 2 zeros. One of them's dropped, one of them's kept. Now, if you know in advance that you're not going to be able to take the test on that day at that time, let me know, because there are situations where somebody says, I know I'm going to be out of town at my sister's wedding that day. I'm not going to be able to make it. Can I take the test early? And it's fine with me if you want to take it early. That's not an issue. It's just that you can't not show up to a test and then email me later that night and say, oh, I wasn't online for the test. Can I take it now? Because that won't work. But if you take it early, that will work. Yeah. All right. Any questions on assessments, quizzes, tests, homework?
How do we do the tests? Like how do they go down?
Oh, well, I don't know. You know, last semester I had my students do tests on my math lab, and I actually wasn't too happy with it. So I think what I might do this semester is write the test the way I normally would when I have students in class, and then just post it so that it's available to you at 6. And then if you had a printer at home, fine, you could print it. If you don't have a printer at home, you can just, you know, copy the questions down or put your work on a sheet of paper. So you'd say, like, you know, like number 1, and then you would do your work, and that's what you would submit to me. I think that might be the best way of doing it. But I haven't entirely decided what format I want to stick with. I don't think I want to do tests on D2L, just because it was kind of a lot to enter when I was working on them before. And that'll be a lot to do for one test. The advantage of using my math lab is that everybody will get different numbers and stuff, but I mean, I don't know that that's really that huge of a deal. So definitely before our first test, I will have a plan and I will tell you all about it, and you'll know exactly what to do heading into the first test. I'll probably send out a really long email too with excessive numbers of instructions on there so that everybody has all of their questions addressed. That's probably, that will definitely happen. Does that sort of answer your question satisfactorily?
Yeah, and then I had one more too for the test.
Okay.
Be getting study guides prior to the test.
Study guides. What I usually do is I don't necessarily put up a study guide. I usually put up like a review assignment on my math lab. So, and it's usually not something that I grade or require, but it might be, you know, an assignment that's similar in length to what I expect your exam will be. And then it's optional. You can do it or not do it, but it's going to be the same type of stuff that you would see on your exam, just all mashed together, and maybe even with the questions reorganized in order. So, because sometimes if you know that it's in order, you kind of know, okay, this is 3-1, this is 3-2, and then it makes it easier. So sometimes I mash it up, helps you study better. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions before I continue on the syllabus? Let's see, back to syllabus. All right, submitting written work. This is a new addition to my syllabus. You're going to be expected to submit written work for exams. no matter what the platform is for taking the exam, I'm going to ask for your work, and I'm going to grade your work as though it was a regular in-class exam. The last thing I want is to give you a test on my math lab and have my math lab grade it, and then everybody will bomb it, because unfortunately on my math lab, it's all or nothing. When I grade your exams, I give you credit for this, and I give you credit for that, and did you write the equation right? And at least you'll be getting credit for what you do, and then if you miss one little thing and get the whole question wrong, you're still going to get a lot of points for the problem. Whereas on my math lab, oh, your answer is wrong, no points. So no matter what we do for tests, I'm going to be grading your handwritten work. That means that you're going to have to be submitting your work to me in a format that I can use, and you're going to have to learn to do it quickly, because you can't send your work to me like the next day. I'm going to have to get it like right after the test. All right, so there are apps. Oh, you know, I wrote this all wrong. I use an app called Genius Scan it's not by Cam Scanner. Cam Scanner is a different app. I meant to say and maybe. I'm not really sure. Sorry, I added this really, really late last night. I use an app called Genius Scan. It might have been like $2.99. I can't remember if it cost anything. I'll look right now. I believe it does not matter whether you have an iPhone or if you have, you know what, it won't tell me, I don't think, because I already have the app. No, it just says open. I think Genius Scan is just an app that you can use regardless of what type of phone you have. I know a lot of students also use Cam Scanner. I used to use Cam Scanner. I think it was an app, though, that at the bottom, it would say something like generated by Cam Scanner, and I had to submit a lot of stuff for my other job, and it was really awkward that it said that at the bottom. But I don't care. If you get an app that's some sort of camera app that will scan to PDF, and it says at the bottom, scanned by Cam Scanner, fine. I don't care if it says anything on the bottom. I just want you to have some sort of app that's going to take a picture of your notes and convert it to a PDF file. Now, I know that with my Genius Scan app, I can take 5 pieces of paper and I can scan them one after the next, and then I can hit done when I'm done, and it will combine all 5 sheets into a PDF. I had some students last semester who used this, and they used Cam Scanner, and I don't know what other apps they had, but they did an awesome job sending me their work for their tests. Everything was labeled. It was one PDF file. It was beautiful. And then there were some people who would send me picture files, and it was like 8 different picture files. None of it was labeled, and some of it opened funny. That's what I don't want. So I just want to get us started off in the year, making sure that we can submit assignments in PDF form if we take photos of them. So I might even actually on Wednesday put together just a tiny mini assignment for you to do as part of your homework that just says, you know, write this on a piece of paper, like on 5 different sheets, scan it into your app and send it to me in a PDF, just so that everybody makes sure they can do it, because I don't want it to be test time and all of a sudden everyone's like, wait, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to send my work, but how am I supposed to do it? I don't want that to happen. I want to make sure that everyone knows right away what they're supposed to do. So this is part of the syllabus. Submitting your written work is something that you're going to be required to do. So I want to make sure that we can all do it in a format that's easy to read. And I don't want to see like 10 JPEG files of your exam. That makes it much harder for me to grade. All right. We're going to talk about the schedule next. Before I do that, does anyone have a question? Okay. Good. See, it's so helpful to even just see some of you guys on your cameras, because at least I feel like, okay, they hear me. There are people on the other end of this computer. All right, back to the syllabus. By the way, this takes just as much time in person as it does online. I thought it might take less time online, but maybe it takes more. I have some tentative chapter exam dates for you. Your first exam is scheduled for 9/21. your final exam is comprehensive. It'll take place during our regular class time on December 16th. You can't make up the final. You can take it early if you let me know in advance. But 9/21 is our tentative chapter exam date. The last exam is scheduled for December 9th. I would not expect that date to move. That one is pretty much set in stone. So if your birthday is December 9th and you're turning 21 and you really wanted to go out and celebrate, that might be something where you want to let me know in advance so that I can give you the test earlier that day or something so you can get it out of the way and then go party later, something like that. And you can't do that for every test. You can do it once. I should have written that into the syllabus. You can take one test where you've gotten some sort of exception. I'll write that into the syllabus though and repost it. Let's see. When I say the final exam is comprehensive, that means it's going to cover all of the material in the class. Students were always wondering, is everything on the final? Yes, it is. That being said, I can't give you like 120 questions on the final. So some topics I will have to skip, but it's basically going to span chapters 1 through 8. All right, so today is August 24th. We're in week 1. We're doing the syllabus review, which clearly is taking a long time. And that's kind of why I build a lot of time into the schedule for it. Hopefully before we go today, I'll be able to get into these 1.1 notes. If you looked them up already, it's one sheet of paper. It's pretty quick. I already put up a homework assignment for it, so I hope we get to it. That would be awesome. And then we'll work on 1.5 on Wednesday. If you took Math 98 recently, 1.5 should be really familiar to you because that is what you left off on basically when you got out of Math 98. 1.5 is all about solving quadratic equations. And that's really the basis for what we're going to be doing throughout the next several chapters. So there isn't a whole lot that we're going to be doing out of chapter 1. If you were wondering like, whoa, we're kind of jumping right into college algebra topics. I thought we were going to review. There's really not time to review in college algebra, but I will show you that I posted some prerequisite knowledge information for you on D2L, and I'll show you where that is when we get into our D2L page in a couple minutes. But this is our schedule. Notice we have no class on 9/7. It's Labor Day, so you won't have to worry about coming to class that Monday. Kind of a nice thing about having a synchronous class is you get to follow the holiday schedule, so we don't have to worry about that. It's tentative, so this is where I kind of expect to be, but it's not exact. But this is kind of where I think things are going to go. So notice how on September 9th, we're going to be covering 2.6. I'm hoping that by then everybody will have their notes from the print shop because that's where we're going to be picking up with the notes that nobody got in the mail. I only mailed out stuff up to 2.5. So yeah, so that's kind of our schedule, kind of shows you what we're doing. Test 1 is going to cover chapters 1 and 2. We might have to start 3.1 on the 16th before test 1, but we probably wouldn't get into too much detail. I try to do tests on Mondays just because at least that way you kind of have the weekend to really study and make sure that you have a good grip and that you're ready for the test. I know on Wednesday, there can be a lot that happens between Monday and Wednesday. So I try not to do tests on Wednesday if I can help it. Unfortunately, test 5 and the final exam are both going to be on a Wednesday. So that's kind of how that's going to work. We'll also have no class on the 25th because of Thanksgiving break. So that'll be another little vacation for you. If you no longer wish to be in the class, you must formally withdraw. You can't just stop coming. I will withdraw you after 5 times, but otherwise you need to drop yourself. And the nice thing about that is if you're responsible about that and you withdraw by 9/6, you can receive an 80% refund. By September 13th, you can receive a 50% refund. 11/8 is the date to remember. That is the date by which you need to withdraw if you think that you're not going to pass and you would like to get a W for the class. So if that's the case, you need to withdraw by 11/8. That is a Sunday. They always make the drop date a Sunday. So I know sometimes well, if you're thinking about dropping, it's going to be on your radar. But I'll remind you the Wednesday before. And when I remind you, it's not because I want everybody to drop. It's just because I want you to be aware, because I would hate for it to be 11/9 And then you're asking me, what do you think? Should I drop? And then I have to tell you, sorry, the drop date already passed. If you drop at this point, you'll get a WF. I don't want to have to be in that position. So if you withdraw after 11-8, then you will receive a failing grade for the class. So that's kind of how that works. The behavioral policy, I don't know. We're on Google Meet. I mean, I would just say, you know, be respectful of the classroom environment. A teacher sent an email today saying that she was teaching a math class and one of her students started smoking an e-cigarette, and she was like, I don't know, I didn't know what to do. It was weird. And I mean, yeah, I don't know. I probably wouldn't notice because I'd be busy writing my notes. I'm really impressed that she noticed, but you know, just something that would be really distracting like that. If you really feel like you need to do that, maybe turn your camera off. But otherwise, I like to see you guys. Oh, there's a question on the chat that I somehow missed. For my math lab, do we have to pay for the account? If you buy it in the bookstore and you buy that little cardboard thing with the account number on it, then you don't have to pay again. Like you've bought the code and that gets you my math lab access for a year. If you didn't buy it in the bookstore, that's fine. You can actually go to mymathlab.com and click on like create an account. And then if you go to enter our class, you can enter our class code, then it will prompt you to pay. Now, there's also going to be a little box underneath that gives you the option for a 14-day trial. So you won't have to pay right away. You can still get into our class and start the homework. So yes, technically you pay for my math lab. I think it's around $100. I think the bookstore price is the same as the mymathlab.com price. Sometimes students go to Amazon and they order their code that way. I don't know if I'd recommend that. I have heard of people saying that they bought a code on Amazon and it didn't work. At least if you buy it through Pearson when you're registering for my math lab, at least that way you can be sure that it's going to work and you don't have to worry about buying it from some third party. Or from the bookstore, you can be sure that it will work. They know exactly which code to give you. For this class, any general code should work. You know, I was just thinking though, if you took Math 98 at ECC, I don't know if your code's gonna work. If anyone has tried it, you can let me know. Okay, there's an 18-week subscription and a 1 year. Benjamin says there's an 18-week and a 1 year. I mean, so the 18-week would cover you through the end of the class. So it's kind of up to you. If you're going to take Trig at ECC, you might want to get the 1 year because then you could use it also for Trig. I don't know what the price difference is, but technically anything, and you'll have to count. I think the semester would cover just 18 weeks should be fine. Just make sure. But yeah, if you don't feel like you're going to use it again, just do the 18 weeks. I'm guessing the 1 year one is probably like $20 more or something, but that's kind of how they get you. Because then if you end up needing it again, you'd have to pay for it again. So, Benjamin, did that answer your question? Can't see Benjamin.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, awesome. Okay, any other questions about my math lab or our class schedule? Or the behavior policy? Okay. I've never had an issue with behavior in my students at ECC, but it's something that you're supposed to put on there because you just never know. All right, so basically any behavior that interferes with the learning environment and disrupts the classroom experience of others is prohibited. Okay, in order to be successful, don't fall behind. I always say that, and I want to stress it, it's so important. Don't let yourself keep falling behind. It's only going to get worse and it's going to build on itself. And then before you know it, you're going to be trying to dig yourself out of a really big hole. Don't fall behind. If you're struggling, see me as soon as possible. You can't see me, I guess, but email me. Come to the office hour, ask me questions. There's free tutoring. We'll talk about it in a couple minutes. You have to advocate for yourself. And unfortunately, in the online environment, you're going to have to advocate for yourself a little bit more than usual because I can't get that connection with you in person. It's very unfortunate. It's harder for me to connect with you over a screen. So you're gonna have to really advocate for yourself. Come to the office hour, talk to me. I think we can do even like a breakout room, but if you really need to talk to me and you feel like someone else is in the office hour and you don't want them to hear what we're saying, I'll give you my phone number. You can call me. It's not a big deal, but don't fall behind. If you want to try to work with other students, I know that's really hard to do. I should have removed that because it almost just like puts it in your face that you can't work with other students. If you find some way of working with them on Zoom or whatever and setting up your own Zoom meetings, that's fine. I'm sure some students will do that. Even if you're struggling, do the homework, do your best. You'll probably start to pick up on it, even though you think you're totally lost. But do what you can, and if it's 10 minutes before the assignment's due, just do what you can. It's better than nothing. Read the e-text if you miss class. At least, now that I'm recording your Google Meet, it's a little bit less necessary to read the test you miss class. You can just watch the recording of it. But that's always an option for you. And go through the text examples. Maybe my examples in class, you feel like you got a handle on it, but you're not quite sure. I'll show you how to access the e-text in my math lab. So you can look at those examples there and, kind of really solidify the answer to your question. Let's see. For extra practice, I would, go through more problems than what's assigned. You don't have to, but I'll show you how to access them if you'd like to. Ask questions in class if something isn't clear. This is really, really, really important now. Chances are someone else probably has your question. And unlike being in a class where you can give a weird look to the person next to you and be like, I don't know what she's saying, it's really hard to do that in an online environment. And it's harder for me to see everybody. I can't see these looks of total confusion that I usually get. So you're gonna have to ask me questions. Don't feel bad about asking me questions. I am sure that if you ask me, 5 people will probably be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad they asked that. I wasn't sure about that either. Trust me, you're not the only one who's got a question. You might be the only one who asks though, and that'll help you and that'll help a lot of other people, and it'll help me to kind of know where you are. So asking questions is wonderful. Let's see. Keep your tests, make sure you have the correct solutions to them. I think if you keep your work for your previous tests, even if it was wrong, I think you'll learn from it and remember what not to do. You are responsible for earning your grade in this class. I expect each and every one of you to work hard and do your best and make the class a priority. Those are my tips. Academic integrity also, very important. I had a student just blatantly cheating last semester, and I had to send it to the dean, and it went through the whole process, and it turned into a really big deal, and he got some major academic sanctions. And I don't usually have to do that, but unfortunately, being online makes it a lot easier for students to be academically dishonest. ECC strives to foster an environment of respect for and achievement of the highest levels of academic integrity for all members of its academic community. Academic integrity and honesty are essential hallmarks of the institution's contributions to the Great Society and cannot be bridged without considerable harm to those who must rely upon the intellectual pursuits of the institution. That means when you have an associate's degree from ECC, people believe that you actually have an associate's degree from ECC. It reflects poorly on the college if you don't know what you're doing because you cheated your way through. It's very important for the institution to maintain its level of integrity and for you to do the same. The college has responsibilities to all those within its sphere of influence, both within the academic community itself and to the Great Society which supports its work. Institutional integrity can only be achieved through honesty, conscientiousness, and credibility of the members of the ECC community itself. To that end, all members of the ECC community are expected to comply with the college's shared values. When an instructor identifies an act of academic dishonesty, the instructor shall determine the appropriate sanctions for the particular offense. Sanctions may include a general warning, rewriting the paper, redoing the assignment, failing the assignment, failing the course, and or participating in the non-credit writing with integrity course. You may visit the website for more details about that. That's what I have to say about cheating. So When you submit your work for a test, that has to be your work, not your friend's work. And you can't say, oh, well, I told my friend what to write and and they wrote it. It was really my work. That's not, no, can't do that. It has to be your work. All right. Tutoring. All students are encouraged to sign up for free online tutoring. Now, if you were a student at ECC before this whole fiasco occurred, you probably knew there was a tutoring center and you could go there and get free help from tutors who were usually part-time workers at ECC or maybe adjunct instructors who were on their breaks. Not the same anymore, but we still do have free tutoring. Live online sessions are available 6 days a week. You can find links for the fall live tutoring schedules and instructions on how to use the tutoring. I put a link for you here on the syllabus, and you can sign up for access to the Tutorings at our D2L page by visiting the tutoring page of our ECC website. I have not tried these links yet, but this was sent to me by the head of the tutoring department to put in my syllabus. So if anyone has an issue with it, let me know ASAP and I will let them know. I would say use the tutoring. It's free. Disability accommodations. I did get some accommodations for at least one of you. If you need some sort of accommodation due to a disability, it has to be documented, and I have to get that document from the disability coordinator. So unfortunately, you can't just email me and say, I have a learning disability, I got accommodations in high school, I need time and a half on my exam. It has to be something that's documented. It's a legal document that I'm sent, and I have to comply with it. So if your legal document is sent to me and it says this person needs time and a half on their exam, then you get time and a half on your exam. And if you don't get it, then I'm not in compliance with the law. However, I can't just give you an accommodation. It has to be something that's official and it's sent to me from the accommodations coordinator. So make sure that if you need those accommodations, advocate for yourself. Make sure that you are in touch with that office and getting that material sent to me so that I can give you whatever accommodations you need. So that is what I have to say about disability accommodations. The email for the lady who heads that office is here in this link. You can send her an email or give that office a call. I'm assuming she's working remotely, but she might be coming in on some days. ACC has veteran services. We also have placement retesting. You can read that on your own time. There's a topical outline and some course outcomes on here. This is stuff I'm required to put into my syllabus, but it's something that you can read on your own time. It's just required to be in there. All right, that's the syllabus. Oh. Anything I missed? Let's see. Oh, the question, how much time do we have on exams? For exams, you will have the class period, the whole class period. So you'll have from 6 to 7:50 to take your exams. Any other questions? All right. Okay, a couple things I wanted to talk about then. One of those things was our D2L page, which I am going to switch over to here. Let's see. Let's see, I'll do it that way. All right, can you guys see our D2L page? I can't see you now. Okay, there you are. Okay, good. So this is our D2L page. If you need to say something, I can't see the chat right now, but just unmute yourself and ask me a question. Most of the stuff that you need, oh man, I forgot to put a welcoming announcement in here. Oh, totally forgot. Sorry. Anyway, Most of the stuff you need is going to be here under the content tab. I put some stuff here into introductory course documents like our syllabus. There's also the My Math Lab student registration handout. If you open that, it basically just gives you instructions for how to get onto our My Math Lab course, how to register for it. I just put these up. Well, actually, I guess I downloaded this maybe close to a month ago. But it just kind of walks you through how to do it. And on here even, it has our course ID. Oh, and it says here that to select an access option, you can either enter the access code that came with the purchase that you made in the bookstore, or you can buy access just by paying for it with your credit or debit card or PayPal, or you can get temporary access. The temporary access is 14 days. If you're taking another semester of a course, you skip the step. So if you took college algebra in the summer and then you dropped it, but so you already have access, that's fine. You don't have to pay again. I think it should be good for a year if you bought the year of access. Yeah. All right. So once you're on the My Courses page, I will show you what that looks like. My course home. All right. You guys can see my Math Lab page. Not right now, because I'm looking at you right now. Can you see it now? Okay, good. I have to like catch you while you're nodding. Excellent. All right, so when you're on My Math Lab, now my Math Lab has a ton of courses on it just because I freelance for Pearson, so I use this account a lot. Our course will be this one, My Math Lab 112-202. It looks like 4 of you are already in here, unless I count as one of you, so maybe only 3. We'll see. But I can view the student home here, so you can kind of see what you're going to be looking at when you get in. You should be looking at a calendar when you get into your My Math Lab page. And you can hover over a circle, and it'll give you some information about My Math Lab. Oh, and I have this sample assignment in here. I was just going to kind of show you how my Math Lab works, so I put a sample in there. But you can view all kinds of interesting things from your calendar. Let's see, today, I already clicked on that. Anyway, back to the course home. So there are a couple different ways of getting to your assignments. Current assignments down here, right now it has sample in it. That's going to go away soon anyway. I just have it up here so I can show you how My Math Lab works. You can also go into homework. And when you're in homework, it'll list your assignments. I actually have an assignment called orientation that's going to be made available to you at 7:40. So if I put homework up in advance, if it's something we're learning that day, it will become available at 7:40. So if for some reason we get out of class early at like 7:30, you're going to have to wait 10 minutes before you can start your homework. But yes, this is where your homework is going to be. If we end up having any tests on My Math Lab, they'll be over here. Right now, you don't have anything over there. There's nothing. But actually, My Math Lab has its own tests for this book that are in there for you in case you wanted to go through them and look. That would be totally up to you. There's all kinds of stuff in there that's optional, that's just at your disposal. That includes the study plan. Some students really like using the study plan. Some students have never seen it before in their lives. That's the majority of students. But you can look through any question you want out of any chapter. You can go to all chapters. You can pick a chapter. Let's say we skipped over chapter P, but maybe you want to go over some prerequisite problems. Feel free. You can open up any of these sections and you can work on problems. You just pick an objective, open it up, and then you can pick some problems and work on them. That's up to you. And when you work through the study plan, what it does is it kind of sets up something for you to work on next. That's kind of the nice thing about it. So if you don't do well, it'll say, okay, you need to practice this. And then if you do really well, it'll say, okay, the next thing you should do is that. So if you want to use the study plan, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. Your grade book for your homework assignments is in here. Mostly I'll be keeping your grades on our D2L page, but your My Math Lab grades for your homework will be in My Math Lab. I'm going to be exporting those and entering them into D2L. So let's make sure no one's asking me questions. Okay. So I'll be entering the grades from my math lab into D2L. So sometimes students will be confused and they'll say, why isn't my test grade in here? Well, if your test wasn't on my math lab and I graded the work for it anyway, your grades are all in D2L. So this will just be whatever my math lab is giving you for homework. Your e-text is in here. Usually you can access it through chapter contents. So this is how you can also click on e-text. It's just, I think, just a different format for viewing the same thing. But if you wanted to look through some of the prerequisite material, if you haven't seen some of this stuff in a while, that's fine. You can go into the e-text and you can look through the prerequisite chapters just to kind of make sure you're up to date on things. This is what the e-text looks like when it loads. A baby with money. So yeah, you can kind of look through them. Talks about algebraic expressions, blah, blah, blah. But this is kind of what I was saying about if you weren't in class and you were following my notes, but maybe you wanted to see some more examples, this would be a good thing to look at, the chapter contents or the e-text. You could go through the section and just get some more examples to look at. It'd help you understand things a little bit better. Let's see. That's basically it. I did want to go over just showing you how my math lab works. I'm assuming a lot of you have seen it before, but not all of you. So, okay, so let's say you go into a homework assignment, and this is just a sample one. You won't have to do this. You'll be given a question. And if it's a short answer question like this, which most of them will be, you're going to have 3 chances to do this particular problem and get the answer right. So let's say you get it wrong. It's going to give you some feedback, and it's going to say no, but it's going to try to help you. It's going to say substitute 7 for x, then compute, then try again. So you are like, okay, well, maybe I'll do this again, blah, blah, blah. And then you enter it wrong again. You're going to get the same feedback to pop up. Well, if you enter it wrong a 3rd time, it's just going to say no. Clearly, it wants you to keep working on this. You can just X that out. But don't think, oh my gosh, I missed a problem. Now I have to go on to the next one. There's a similar question button at the bottom. I have your homework set up to unlimited attempts. That means that you can do this problem as many times as you want before the due date. Now, if you click similar question, you're going to get different numbers, but the same type of question. There are people who just program these to include numbers that give you the same level of difficulty. So notice the original expression had x equals 7 and then 6 plus 9x. When you say similar question, same idea. You're going to get a similar question, but slightly different numbers. Depending on what problem it is, you might get the exact same question over again. But let's say you're working on it again and you're not sure what to do. Well, you can always go to question help. There are all kinds of resources. One of them is the textbook. I probably wouldn't look at that. There's might be a video attached to the topic. There is for this one. If you want to watch that, fine. Let's say you think that your answer was right and it kept telling you it was wrong. That's when you would want to hit the Ask My Instructor button. When you hit the Ask My Instructor button, now this book is very heavily vetted, by the way. You're really not likely to encounter any problems here where the answer that you entered was incorrectly being marked wrong. But if you think that's the case, notice you hit that button, it sends me an email. Don't just send an email, though. You have to write something. And don't write, I don't get this. Write something like, I entered blah, 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 and it wasn't accepted, and I'm not sure why. Just give me some sort of explanation. Every once in a while, I see that something was wrong with the problem, or maybe it wasn't clear enough, and then I send it off to customer support, and they fix it. You know what? It just dawned on me that you might not be able to see this pop up for the Ask My Instructor button. I don't know. I don't know how that works with pop-ups. Are you guys able to see the pop-up window where I'm doing the homework in my math lab? Because I see you now. So you know what? I might have to share it separately. Sorry about that. I thought I didn't even think about the pop-ups. See if I pick a different window. Do homework. This one. Sorry about that, guys. All right, now can you see the pop-up window with the homework in it? All right. All right, so we went through the homework problem. I'll do that one more time. If you were not sure how to answer the question, or even if you had a question on the question, you go to the help links, you hit the Ask My Instructor. It sends me an email. You can write a message in here like, I don't understand where they got this or that or the other thing, and send. And it sends it right to my email, and I'm going to actually be able to see the exact problem you were working on with the exact same numbers. So it's really helpful to send that to me. It's not helpful when in the next class period you say, I was working on the homework and I got this one and it kept saying I was wrong and I don't know why. Because then I don't know what problem you were looking at. There's nothing I can do about it. So you have to send me the problem. You know, that created another pop-up that now I'm worried you didn't see. All right, well, you saw where I got to it, so that's the important thing. The Help Me Solve This is kind of a guided solution. It'll walk you through the solution process. You can do that. There's also a View an Example. When you click on View an Example, it'll give you a similar problem, and it'll just kind of show you the steps that you can click through. A lot of students like View an Example because they don't have to do anything. They just kind of see how the problem is worked out, and then they do the problem on their own. But let's say you're not sure what to do with this problem. You can always come back to it later, and you can go to the next problem. Whenever you're done with the session, just hit save. I think it'll save it automatically, but when in doubt, just hit save. But you can always go back through and let's say, I mean, we already did the first problem wrong. Oh, and if you didn't get to see this the first time because you couldn't see my window, you have 3 chances to answer the question. On your 3rd try, you get the final checkbox. If it's wrong, hit the similar question button, and you'll get another question with similar numbers. Okay, someone in the chat is asking, on average, how many questions are in the homework assignments? I would say on average, like 20. Depends on what it is. If it's graphing, like 8, maybe. If it's just like solve this quadratic equation, maybe like 15. It kind of depends on how long the questions are. Okay. Any other questions about my math lab? Okay. What else was I going to show you guys? Let's see. My math lab. We talked about D2L. Does anyone want to see anything else about my math lab or D2L or anything else technology-wise? Okay. If you have a question, now's the time. All right. All right, then I will stop presenting. Gosh, it's getting dark outside now. I feel like I'm in like a dungeon. Let's see, get a little bit of light going on. All right. Any other questions on the syllabus? Okay, if you think of anything, feel free to email me. Let's see. Then if you have no other questions, I was going to have you guys introduce yourselves, but maybe we'll, no. Yes. Is all the homework on my math lab too? Anything except if there's something that's a lot of graphing. If it's something that's a lot of graphing, I might assign you work to do by hand. Okay. Do I want to have you guys introduce yourselves? Yes. Yes. I want to know who you are. When you introduce yourself, I would like for you to, if you have a working camera, I know we all don't, if you can show us your face and unmute yourself and just tell us your first and last name so I can find you on the roster. And then just what your major is, and then something interesting about yourself. Oh, good. I see more faces now. Wonderful. Okay, so let's see. Down the list. I think this is alphabetical. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Angel. It's alphabetical by first name. Did he check out? Angel. Oh, tell. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Just tell us your major, and if you're new to ECC, and anything else interesting that we would like to know.
I'm a computer science major, and that's all. That's basically all you need to know.
That's it? You don't have anything else? Do you have children? Or if you have kids, I want to know, because I have kids, and I always find that interesting.
I'm 19. No.
I know most of my students are young, but sometimes they're like, they have grandkids. You never know. I can't see you, so how would I know? Are you new to ECC?
No, I took a semester. I took a summer semester about a year ago.
Okay. All right. You want to add anything to that? I think you're done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Benjamin. Where are you, Benjamin?
I think it works.
We hear
Can you hear
you.
me?
I hear you, but I don't see you.
Sweet.
Let's see if I click on you, maybe I can see you.
It says the camera's on. I see like
Oh.
a green dot.
There, I see you now. Sorry. Continue.
My name is Benjamin. My major is agricultural business. And I don't know. This is my first time ever at ECC. I'm a freshman. And I'm currently at the University of Missouri, but I'm taking an online class at ECC.
Oh.
Kind of
Are you online at Missouri, or you're there right now?
I'm there right now. I have my first in-person class tomorrow at 11 a.m. Kind
Oh,
of sucks.
so interesting. So you're like really remote. You're not even like
Yeah, I'm pretty
sitting
far
at
away.
home at Elgin. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. All right. Next, we'll do Chase. Where are you, Chase? Chase. You unmuted, but I don't hear you. Oh. Chase, we don't hear you. Okay, we'll come back to Chase. Daniel, you want to go, Daniel? Daniel Rodriguez. Oh, there you are.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Daniel.
Yourself.
I'm Daniel Rodriguez. My major is in engineering.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's it. About it.
Are you new to ECC?
No, new to online.
We all are. You guys are doing a great job with all your muting and everything. I'm really, really impressed. Not that I'm like really into muting, but it's kind of nice, you know, when there's a lot of background noise. Okay, you don't have anything else to add to that?
No.
Okay. All right, I accept. Elizabeth?
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Elizabeth. I usually go by Beth. My major is environmental science. It's probably going to be something in environmental science. I'm still a little bit working on it. And I write poetry.
I had you before, right?
Yeah, I actually chose to have you take this class because I took it last semester with a different teacher, and it was really, really bad for me. It felt like I was taking an online class, and
You are taking an online class.
well, last semester, before everything switched over, I actually had to drop the class before we even got to the online part. But so far, this already feels more in person than it did when I was sitting in that classroom. So that's good.
I'm trying. I don't know how we're going to keep this up all the time, but we'll try. Yeah, I saw you on the roster and was like, wait a second, that name looks really familiar. All right, wonderful. Well, I'm glad to see you back. Thank you. Hopefully this semester will be better.
I hope so too.
Okay, Estella.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, my name is Stella. My major is probably something like zoology related, but
Oh.
I'm not sure yet. And in high school, I used to do cross country and track, so that's the only thing interesting about me, I guess.
I'm sure there's more than that.
I'm
but
sure there's more, but I can't really think of anything right now.
we will accept. You have like a ton of animals.
I actually do. It's kind of crazy around my house. There's too many.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I don't live there. We have a dog and fish, and I'm just like, ooh, it's too much. Too much. Okay. All right. Well, good. All right, Jasmine.
Hi, I'm Jasmine. This is my second year at ECC. I am an honor student. I'm a part of Phi Theta Kappa.
Woo!
I model, and I also have 3 little girls. So
Oh, you
I'm here at
do?
home with them.
Wow, you look so.
Yeah.
How old are they?
I have a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
Oh, wow. And they're all
Yeah.
learning, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Mhm. Yeah. You know Amy Beth Maurer, probably?
No.
Oh, really?
I
Because
don't think
she's in student life. She at least used to be the advisor for PTK. I think she still is. Anyway.
Oh, you know what? Yes. PCK.
Yes.
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 Got it up. Yeah.
She was my advisor because I was in PTK. I went to ECC a long time ago, and I was the secretary of PTK. So yeah, Amy Beth and I are friends still. She just texted me
Awesome.
a month ago. Yeah. All right, cool. Wonderful. Is it Jimena? Where is she?
Yes, it's Jimena.
All right. Tell us
I
about
can't-
yourself.
I can't show my face right now because I'm at work, but yeah.
Are you supposed to be on this class at work? Should I feel honored?
Well, it's just I had to like switch my schedule, but like moving on, I won't be at work during this hour anymore.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm impressed. You're really doing double duty here. Okay, tell us about yourself, or if you can, if you're in that position.
All right. Well, my name is Jimena. I'm 18 years old. I'm not really sure what my major is. I just know I do want to go into the medical field, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one younger sister, even though she's taller than me.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, we'll let you get back to work.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Julia.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, there you are.
My name's Julia Gulick. I just turned 21 this year, and I'm hoping to do something with accounting. Oh, and I guess an interesting fact about me is I have a twin brother.
Oh. You had like a really exciting year turning 21 this year.
I mean, it could have been more exciting, but it was all right.
My niece turned 21 at the end of March, and she was.
Yeah, oh.
Oh well. Oh well. Maybe sometime it will be really exciting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. Let's see. Kale. Is it Kale?
Yeah, it's Kale.
Okay. Years ago, I used to work with a guy named Kale in like 1999 before anyone knew what the plant kale was. And they were always like, I don't understand this name kale. And he was like, oh, it's actually like a leafy vegetable. But nobody knew that at the time. Anyway, you're the second Kale I've ever met. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm 19. This is my second year at ECC. I don't really know my major yet. I'm maybe thinking like sociology or psychology, one of those two maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess a fun fact about me is I played baseball in high school.
Oh, cool. Wonderful. Well, thank you. I feel like I'm looking down at where you are on my screen, but it probably looks weird from this angle. All right, let's see. Who's next? It is Karen. Where's Karen? Oh, there she is. You got to unmute, Karen.
Hi, my name is Karen. I really like math, so I'm taking this class, but I wanted to do my associates in arts and get my paralegal certificate at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm undecided right now, so I'm still deciding.
Okay, but you love math.
Yes.
So you're really good about math.
Well, we'll have to see.
Okay.
I haven't taken a math class in like 3 years, so.
Oh, well. Maybe you should go through that prereq stuff I put on D2L.
Okay.
Just to get you up to speed. You don't have to.
Okay.
All right.
But I'm pretty familiar with this stuff that we're going to
good. Yeah, maybe you'll be ready already. I'm sure it'll all come right back.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, good. Mackenzie?
Hi, I'm Kenzie. My major is social work. And an interesting thing is I'm a nanny of 3 and I play basketball at ECC.
Oh, cool. How old are the 3?
8 months, 4, and 11.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Did you introduce yourself as Kenzie or do you prefer to be Mackenzie?
It's either, whichever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Michael? I think we only have one Michael.
Hi, my name is Michael. It's my first semester at ECC. My major is marketing. And my interesting fact is I plan on transferring to Mizzou next year. So.
Oh, wow. Is that, okay.
I like that.
Sorry if I have all my Missouris mixed up. Is that where Benjamin goes? Is that officially?
Yeah, University of Missouri in Columbia, yeah.
That's where I am right now.
Oh, okay. I only hear about it when people talk about like the Final Four or I don't know, Sweet 16 or whatever it is. I always hear it too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that familiar with Missouri.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Nakira.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Nakira, but I go by Nikki.
Okay.
My major is nursing. I just recently passed the PSB test.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm really pumped about that. So hopefully I'm in there in January. I do not like math at all. But I have to take this class to take another class to get my bachelor's when I transfer over. So
yeah,
I have to do what I got to do. So I'm looking forward to it. So that's about it.
That'll be nice to have it behind you anyway.
Yeah.
Students don't like it and they wait too long and then they wish they would have just done it.
Yes.
Good. My mom majored in nursing at ECC. This was years ago, and she has an associate's degree, but she's been working at the same nursing home for like 20 years. She makes really good money. I mean, I guess now you need like a 4-year degree, but
well, I want to able to get my master's, so you got to start off somewhere. So
This is true. It's a good career, no doubt.
Yeah.
I sometimes feel like I should go to nursing school. Okay, awesome. Is it Ramo? Am I saying that correctly?
Ramil. So I'm 18.
Okay.
And it's my first semester at ECC.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about majoring in engineering.
Okay.
but I'm not sure what kind of engineering, so I'm gonna spend like 2 years thinking about it before transferring to a 4-year college.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, and the thing interesting about me is that I like playing video games.
Okay. Wonderful. I did the same thing. I went to ECC for 2 years, and then I transferred to U of I in the engineering program. So yes, I know what that's
I'm
like.
thinking about going to UIC, but not sure yet.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of students do end up going to UIC, but it's a perfectly wonderful place, I'm sure, to get your engineering degree. So many people get their engineering degrees there. You can stay local, stay in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good plan. It's a great plan. Okay. Stephanie.
Thanks.
We have like 2 Stephanies. Oh, sorry. Did you want to add something to that, Ramil? Did you have something?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. All right. So we have 2 Stephanies. Stephanie F. I'll let you go first.
Okay, hello, Stephanie. This is my first class at ECC. I'm gonna major in bio.
I'm sorry, what are you majoring in?
Bio.
Oh, bio.
Biology. Yeah.
What do you hope to do with that?
I want to go into environmental bio. Maybe do research, learn about.
Okay. Cool. It's a good degree no matter what you end up deciding to do if you switch out or whatever. It's a good degree to have. Awesome. Other Stephanie V. Stephanie V. Or you might technically be Stephanie I. ECC has you as Stephanie Velasco. I don't know how to pronounce the other one. Is Kier? Is Kier? Or Stephanie? Okay, we'll skip the other Stephanie for now. Is it Uzair? Oh, it's not working for me. Okay.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. You said it perfectly, actually.
Okay, awesome.
My name is Uzair. My major is business administration, and an interesting thing about me is I know how to fix phones.
You fix phones? What if the screen is cracked? Do you still do that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I can pretty much fix everything on the phone.
Oh, that is interesting. All right, wonderful. Okay. Wonderful. Yeah, when you were talking you were in like the bottom, and I had like a white thing that was covering your name the whole time. So it's like, I don't know who that is, but now I know who you are. Excellent. Okay, the only ones we didn't hear from were Chase, and Stephanie V said that it was not working for her, which is fine. Chase, did you want to try again? You can chat me up if you don't want to. Oh, mic not working, and oh, Chase says that his mic is not working, but his major is applied physics. Sorry if you said that, like 10 minutes ago. Sorry, Chase. Applied physics, awesome. Very good. All right, obviously we're not getting to 1-1 tonight. I'll tell you who I am, and then we'll just call it a night, and that's fine, because I feel like with this online class, there's a little bit more to talk about on the first night as far as all the different programs and things we're gonna be doing, and usually I get through 1-1. If I don't, oh well, it's not the end of the world. It's 1 page of notes. So clearly I'll have to adjust the first homework assignment that I put up for 1-1. Okay, so my name's Carrie Faruqi. You guys are my only class this semester. I didn't realize that it was gonna be online until, I don't know, they made the switch in June, but we chose our classes back in like February. So it was too late for me to add another. But I really like going to school in person. I'm kind of sad that I have to do this online, mostly because I like to be able to see you guys, and it's really hard to teach to an abyss. So I'm really glad that some of you guys still have your cameras on. That's really helpful to me. Try to make the connection. But I'm seriously sitting here in like a pair of shorts right now, whereas if I was in school in person, I would probably have like a dress and heels on. So I kind of am sad that like there's like the standard is so low right now. I mean, there are days when I will come online in a blazer just so I can feel a little bit more professional. I have 3 kids. They are 1, 3, and 5. If you hear any screaming, it's just because they think it's funny to scream. So usually they're so loud that at some point in the class, you guys will hear them, and I'm sorry. My husband takes care of them. They're not just wandering the house by themselves for 2 hours. He comes home, he watches them. They're at the park right now. So if you've been listening to my dog bark, it's because while they're gone, he freaks out the entire time. So, so there's that. And unfortunately, I can't mute myself because the dog is barking because I'm the teacher. So it's very unfortunate. Anyway, I said that I went to ECC for a few years. This is true. I transferred to U of I into the engineering program. I had a talk with Amy Beth Mauer before I left, and I told her I wasn't so sure that I wanted to be an engineer. And she said, you got accepted into engineering. Just do it. And after I got there, I was just like, why am I doing this? I really like my math classes. So I ended up switching my major into math. And then I went to NIU and got my teaching certification. I taught high school for a year, got laid off, and it was not pleasant. I sometimes still have nightmares that I'm teaching high school. It was just, you know, when you're a first year teacher, they give you like the worst classes ever. So it was really not pleasant and terrible. So getting laid off was at the time really upsetting, but then I'm really glad that it happened. Then I got my master's at NIU and I started teaching at ECC, which I actually thought that I would do once I retired from my engineering job, but then I ended up switching into math. So this is what I do now. So yeah, I'm with my kids all day. So even though I said that your emails get pushed to my phone, that's true. I see them right away, but sometimes I'm like dropping them off at this, that, and the other thing. And it takes me a little bit of time to actually get to my computer and sit down and respond to your email. So just, you know, consider that. And I'm with them all day. So I'm really happy that I get to come up here 2 nights a week and at least do math with you guys. It used to be really nice to come into school and do that, but this is still nice. So anyway, yeah, that's who I am. I've been teaching at ECC for almost 10 years now. So yeah, exciting times. That's all I was going to say about me. We're pretty much done at this point. I don't have time to go over 1-1. If you would like to look through the notes on D2L, please feel free. If you missed what I was saying at the beginning of class, the D2L stuff, if you just registered today, the D2L access will be available to you tomorrow. After 6 a.m. is when they process those. So you will have access tomorrow. Email me, though, if you have any questions. I will stop the recording as soon as class ends, and it'll take a while to process. I'm going to put the recording on YouTube, and then I'll put a link to it on D2L in case you wanted to watch all of my awkward conversations over again. It's going to be amazing because it'll all be online. If not, at least in the future, you'll be able to watch me work on the notes online in case you miss a class. So yeah, that's it. I'll be sticking around a little bit longer. If you want to log off, that is fine. We're done for today. If you have questions, feel free to stick around. I'll be on for at least another 15 minutes. And I will see you Wednesday. Use the same link. Go to your calendar. Same time, same place.
Hey, so I had a question. If we're not able to attend like a certain time, could we be able to like show up in the beginning and then like see the recordings later? Or
So I actually asked my dean about this because I had a feeling the question, oh, am I still muted? Oh no. I had a feeling the question was going to come up. She said that because the course is listed as synchronous, you should be expecting to come to the class at this time every week. Otherwise, you should be in a class that's not synchronous. So officially, yes, I'll be taking attendance each time. And you can miss up to 4 classes. So if you can't make like 4 of them, before November 8th, that's fine. But if it's like every single class that you're not going to be at, then you should register for a different class because you're going to end up getting dropped.
All right. Thank you.
Does that help? Okay.